The following presentation is made possible by EA Sports Game Changers. What's going on, guys? Bengal again here, coming back at you with another video. And today, we are on Madden NFL 19 franchise for one of the first times on my channel. I would really appreciate you guys smashing that like button and subscribing to the channel if you are new. But that being said, there has been some deliberation with what franchise team I would be choosing for Madden NFL 19. We had the Browns as a potential option, the Ravens, maybe even the Chargers, who are a great team without injury. They were kind of near the bottom of the list. The Buccaneers. There were a number of team options that we could have chosen, but I did decide to go with my favorite team, the New York Football Giants. I think it makes a ton of sense. They're coming off one of their worst seasons over the last decade with an aging quarterback, but there are some really good building pieces. Unfortunately, you do have Odell Beckham Jr. with an expiring contract, so we will have to pay him off in that regard if we want to keep him on his team. But those are going to be some of the decisions that we'll have to make over the course of this 3 to 4, maybe even 5+ season franchise in Madden 19. Does Eli Manning remain our starting quarterback, and for how long? Do we re-sign Odell Beckham Jr.? What do we do in the draft? What do we do in free agency to get this team back on the right track? Coach Pat Shurmur will be changed eventually to, of course, Genghis Khan to continue the legacy coming over from Madden NFL 18 and that franchise series over with the Niners. That was a lot of fun, but Genghis Khan will, of course, now be taking over the New York Football Giants. I recorded this over in Orlando at EA. Thanks again for EA for sending me out. So this was a little bit older, but, you know, same roster, same lineup. Just going over some of the players that are going to be featured within the series. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you guys are excited as I am. I think a series when it's your own favorite team, it's a little bit easier to become immersed into it. And it's no secret, last year I wasn't exactly the most committed to franchise series other than the rebuilds, of course, which are on the channel. But this is going to be entirely different. This year, Madden 19, of course, will be a mainstay on the channel, but New York Giants franchise is a series you guys will see very often. The offensive line is fairly weak. The Giants went out in free agency and signed Nate Solder from the New England Patriots, but there are some issues on the offensive line, to say the least. John Jerry exists. Barrett Jones is going to be the starting center. Maybe we'll see what John Halapio can do. And this man, you think 69, nice. It's not so nice because it's Eric Flowers. Eric Flowers, the revolving door, has moved over from the left side to the right. And I guess we're now expecting it to make a difference. Not sure. Maybe John Greco will compete for a starting job. Maybe John Halapio. We have Evan Ingram coming into his sophomore season. Had a decent year last year. The only issue is he's not a fantastic blocker. Doesn't really even block well in line. But that's why we have Rhett Ellison. More that prototypical blocking tight end that we can bring in certain packages, maybe even be an I-form fullback. But Evan Ingram is basically a 6'3" receiver that's going to be playing on the line in a lot of the packages that we come out in. Terrell Adams is also a guy that's going to compete for playing time. Odell Beckham Jr., though. This is the man we talked so much about. The superstar on this team. Arguably the best player on the Giants, I would say so. Sterling Shepard, one of the best slot receivers in the NFL. Over his past couple of years in the league, he has been in the top 5 and top 10 when healthy in total slot yards receiving. So he's been incredible in that regard. It's all about staying healthy. However, the drop-off from 1 to 2 is somewhat significant, but the drop-off from 2 to 3 is extremely significant to the next receiver. We have Cody Latimer is going to compete for playing time. We have Tavares King maybe competing for playing time. It's going to be a very interesting situation. Roger Lewis Jr., Russell Shepard maybe, and another very interesting situation will be at the quarterback position. We have 3 quarterbacks going to be vying for playing time, to be that option, I should say, in season number 2. Is it going to be Eli Manning? Is it going to be Davis Webb? Is it going to be Kyle Lauletta? Taken in this year's draft. Not a very high draft pick, but he has a potential to be something. He has good decision-making abilities. He's accurate, throws a pretty tight spiral. The arm strength is something you're going to worry a little bit about. Something you're not going to worry about, though, is Saquon Barkley at running back. That position should be solidified for the years to come for the New York Giants franchise. Saquon Barkley, of course, first-round draft pick out of Penn State. The Giants, against the opinions of a lot of people out there in the media, against the opinions of a lot of people within NFL franchises. You hear what GMs have to say, and, inside sources within the league have to say this. They didn't want the Giants to take a running back so high. They wanted them to go after a quarterback. You look at maybe a Sam Darnold, a Baker Mayfield, a Josh Rosen, as those were probably the 3 best quarterbacks in the draft class this past year, at least in a ready-to-play now sort of department. Lamar Jackson is good as well. He has a little bit more work to do. But I don't know. Giants went and they took Saquon Barkley, the best player overall in the draft. That is my opinion, but I think he was the most pro-ready. He has everything that you'd look for in a running back, ticks all the boxes. The only problem, you could say, is that running back is now an undervalued position in the NFL for the most part, especially comparatively to a quarterback. That's just true. Quarterback is more valuable than running back. Offenses cannot operate without a running back. Without a quarterback. Running back is complementary. And you do see amazing running backs take over offenses. David Johnson in Arizona comes to mind. Le'Veon Bell is, of course, especially good in Pittsburgh, but they also have Big Ben. They have Antonio Brown. Martavis Bryant was a weapon for them when he was on the team and actually on the field, not getting high as a kite. He should be taken up across the seam, burning safeties, but instead he's burning the marijuana and getting suspended. So not a great thing for him. Giants, of course, drafted Lorenzo Carter out of Georgia. We have a lot of edge rushers that are going to compete for playing time in this team. Giants have changed to a 3-4 defense. James Betcher is the new defensive coordinator. And you have guys that are newly on the team going after the quarterback. Josh Morrow as more of a 3-4 defensive end. Kerry Wynn could be in that role. You look at B.J. Hill. They drafted McIntosh out of Miami, R.J. McIntosh. They're going to be in a very interesting situation. And at outside linebacker, you got Olivier Vernon is the mainstay in that team. He will absolutely be starting and rushing off that right outside. But at the left, who's he going to be? Is it going to be Kareem Martin? Is it going to be Lorenzo Carter? Of course, the captain, Zach Diassi, the linebacker, long snapper. You'll never see him on defense. Obviously, you don't in real life. Khalif Raymond from the Denver Broncos will compete for time as a kick returner. We currently have him slotted at number 1. And we will see how that plays out over the course of this season. We're going to have to see, who we eventually draft, who we bring in. It's going to be riding the hot hand. Who's playing the best? Who can we put out there for the most success? Of course, you see the preseason schedule, but we're starting off in week 1 against the Jacksonville Jaguars, then going at the Dallas Cowboys, at the Houston Texans for back-to-back games in Texas, versus the Saints at the Panthers, versus the world champion Eagles at the Falcons, versus the Redskins at the 49ers, Genghis Khan's former team, versus the Bucks at Eagles, versus Bears at Redskins, versus Titans at Colts, and of course the home game against the Dallas Cowboys to wrap up the regular season. It is not going to be a particularly easy schedule, but it's a schedule that the Giants can certainly take advantage of if they win the games that they have to win. This is a team that can go back to the playoffs. We're going to very much compete and try to get back to the playoffs now that Eli Manning has a little bit of a better offensive line situation. We didn't really touch on Will Hernandez, who was drafted at a UTEP to be that force on the offensive line at left guard. The offensive line has improved. Saquon Barkley was brought in to be that spark plug in the backfield. You're going to have healthy receivers again with Odell Beckham Jr., absolutely a top 5 receiver in the NFL. Sterling Shepard, we talked about one of the best slot receivers in the NFL. This team has talent on offense now. As long as everybody stays healthy, as long as everyone comes out to compete, we are going to be in an excellent position to win. You talk about maybe 7 to 11 games and get into the playoffs. This is a team that can compete. We are going to be on all Madden with adjusted sliders to make it a little bit more realistic and probably, in the end, a little bit more difficult as well. But I'm excited. We're going to be at MetLife Stadium for the course of this year. Eli Manning, this is your time to shine. This could be your last hoorah as the quarterback of the New York Football Giants. But that's going to do it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Take it easy.